As for what Blizzard could do for this, well, Master Looter, which, you know, still can be gamed and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the guilds would like this.
There's so much of this could be fixed so easily. Like a lot of it would add a little bit less drama or remove some drama rather. But the idea of just go, well, Master Looter or something like tier bosses always drop X amount of tier and you can distribute them amongst your group or not. Or, you know, you kill the tier boss once, you get the token for it, you get 3 tokens, you can turn into a piece, something like that, anything like that.
Yeah.
Anything to make it more deterministic.
Like, our experience has been raid loot so fucking stingy.
Raid loot literally, there literally needs to be like maybe 4 times the raid loot because
whoa.
Okay, so I'll go over a little bit of numbers. So we generally go for 10 people in raid, and I worked out that doing Mythic Plus at plus 8 or 9, which is the same level as normal gear, it's way easier and also up to 50% more efficient in terms of the gear per time.
Yeah.
I averaged out that you know, we would kill about it was
Random
the week
numbers.
it was the week we killed 8 bosses in 3 hours. That was us. I think
it's just re-clear night.
Yeah, we cleared 7, then took Anduin. We're like, okay, sweet, great. That got us 2 bits of gear per boss, and then I thought, okay, well that was 8 bosses, 3 hours, and I'll spare you the math, but I worked out like averaging 30 minutes for a Mythic Plus, even though Mist of Turn Scythe can be done 15. It worked out 50% more. It was 24 bits of loot versus 16 per hour, I think.
And of course, there's many cases like with the Unbound Changeling where the BIS actually doesn't come from the raid.
Yeah.
Yeah. So funny little thing, right? With how they've handled gear in raids. Yeah, I suppose just in a world with Mythic Plus and the Great Vault, raiding feels quite bizarre. I know when I was talking to Preach about, you know, stuff, and he was just mentioning like he was so fed up of having to run Mythic Plus to raid.
Because it's the most efficient way to get gear.
Yeah, exactly. So I really hope they take a different look at this for the next for the next expansion. I mean, I don't want to do it in a way where it punishes the Mythic Plus people.
Of course, yeah, because Mythic Plus is great.
You could just bring raids up.
Exactly. Mythic Plus is fine. I think that raid needs to give a lot more loot in order to make up for it. And I mean this at the normal and heroic level, because the point of how Mythic Plus gear scaling ends at 15 is literally just for Mythic players. It's just, you can freely farm all the heroic gear you want at 15, do that all day long, and then, but Mythic is where the real gear lies, so we don't want you to have that. You have to Mythic grade for that, which obviously is kind of fair enough for looking at, like, you know, Mythic being the aspirational part of the game, but you just have this instance where raid loot feels massively stingy by design, whereas if they 4x the amount of loot you got from raid and from normal and heroic, it would still exist as it is, but people who raid wouldn't feel like they have to do Mythic Plus. Yeah. And that's a problem for us. Like
4x would be, I think, a bit too much. Like if what you just said is it's 50% more efficient in Mythic Plus.
But Mythic Plus isn't locked out. Raid is locked out.
Fuck.
It would definitely, 4x would definitely be a lot more.
That would be a fucking loot bonanza.
Well, it would be 8 bits. Right, okay. I worked out at the start of the thing, we would need to kill 75 bosses to get everyone like in normal gear. 75 bosses to get everyone normal gear. That's like 7 weeks of raiding. And that's assuming every bit of gear we got was right. But because you get 2 per boss, it never turns out that way.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's like I'm sitting here with a 3-piece tier. I filled out less Great Vault. I mean, two of my bits of tier are from the vault, by the way. Yeah. One of them is an actual drop. You have 1 piece of tier, and you have cleared...
Came from normal... the 1 piece of tier that came from the normal raid vault slot, as opposed to the Mythic Plus vault slots, which are much higher.
Yeah. So you have 1 bit of tier.
Yep.
You have unlocked more slots than me.
Substantially, yep.
So it was quite weird, and we found there's definitely the haves and the have-nots in our guild. And I mean, what's it like in your guild when it comes to like people who've just got tier naturally? And certainly when you look around the player base, so many people are calling for the creation catalyst to be in earlier. And that would certainly...
Why not?
Like, that would certainly help. I would say something like tokens from the raid, like FF does it, seems to be quite successful. I've had Blizzard and ex-Blizzard staff in my DMs talking about how much they find FF14 raid loot to be refreshing, which I think is kind of funny. So, I mean, I don't know. They've had, I mean, I've got to say, they have had some of the most loopy reward designers in I think, near the history of MMOs over the last while. And I mean, obviously I say that, everyone's going to know, oh, Russ has left and or blame it him or whatever. I don't mean it that way. But I mean, certainly you think about PvP loot in Battle for Azeroth, where it was just like, hey, get in your ration line, take your gear ticket. Like, do you remember what the BFA PvP loot system was?
Oh, yeah.
It was the legit most bonkers way I've ever seen loot be done. And it was especially weird because
Soup Kitchen Gaming, like
it was that's it. It was Soup Kitchen Gaming, and it was so weird that like you got the gear on this like, you know, preset thing as long as you fill up your conquest every week, because that was the point in the game where you were getting loot from multiple different sources, even more than in the past, because they said, well, players often just buying gear in a specific order anyway. Therefore, it will remove all their freedom. Haha. So, it's like the games just have weird rewards and stuff. I don't know. I just, do you know what I think back to? The Blizzard designer who gave the talk on the overjustification effect. And one of the things that he said, like one of the points was, don't be stingy.
Yeah, be generous.
Yeah, if you're going to go that way, at least be generous. So
yeah.
Funny thing. Okay, what's this? Tune bosses better, forehead and improve. Oh yeah, so this is just all of the weirdness going on with the difficulty of this raid was insanely all over the place. We went in week 1 normal, and it was quite weird because normal almost felt like a soft heroic.
It felt nice.
It felt great, yeah. Now at the time we had shit gear. Because we did not do heroic sanctum, so
real bad.
yeah, we had awful gear, and loads of people were just in fresh characters they'd rolled like the day before the raid, and only played a few hours on.
Hello.
Yeah, actually both of us. But it felt pretty good actually. Felt pretty good. And then the nerfs start coming in, and we really notice those nerfs. And then the weirdest thing in my head was they absolutely, like, they nerfed Anduin, and it was kind of a pity because the week before we were really trying to like get our Anduin downstairs phases good.
Yeah.
Right? Because, sometimes you'd focus too much on the boys walking in, and you'd be like 5k damage too slow on defeating the big chunky mob. But we'd finally got it down. I had my little thing. I'd, Frost Nova, Shimmer, Frost Nova. We'd focus them down.
You strategized.
And then, the one that would break out of the Nova first, we would then kill while you rooted the other one. And it felt like really quite good. But then it's like, bam, next week, fucking nerfed into the ground.
Double Lego as well.
And double Lego. And that was the weird thing. They did all of those nerfs the week the double Legos came out, which really made so much of it face roll. It was weird.
Yeah, because we were like, we were learning the boss fights and like strategizing on them and deciding how to do them. We were like, okay. And it felt like a nice natural process. Sure, it wasn't that difficult like strategically because it was like normal, but it was like that process was almost enshrined quite nicely. And then the balance change comes in and went, oh, we don't need to strategize anymore. We just have to hit the, in my case, oh, someone's taking damage, convoke. Every minute I just smash the button, everyone gets healed up and it's fine. Whereas, obviously,
God,
like
that's such a button.
Yeah, for damage as well, just the damage is just free, rolling in, Where now, instead of, we have to strategize to kill all the doubts and the despair, now it's just go in, head to face smash keyboard, they're all dead. Same with like, Lords of Dread is like, that fight ended so quick, we're like, oh yeah, it's over, oh yeah.
Well, actually, our first Anduin kill ended so quickly that his second intermission phase was cut off early when he hit 10% health.
Yeah, which was like, and the difference was we were getting him to just about 10% at the end of that phase. And then this time was just like, we get double Lego and a nerf, so we just boom. Okay, it feels like we've just skipped like 6 weeks of progress or something.
That is what it felt like, yeah. So I guess it was that whole thing of if we just had our double legendaries and all of that from the very start of the patch and they were treated like a feature, not a reward, then number one, so many discussions about double Legos and power coming from stuff just wouldn't have happened and we would have been fine.
Do it simply, please.
Yeah, and we wouldn't have had this like weird balance thing between between everything. It was quite weird because even going into Lords of Dread and DeSausage, I've forgotten his friggin' name, we had assumed that they would be tuned to be way harder because a whole bunch of guilds would only really get to them in double Lego week. That was our assumption, but we went in and just completely knocked them over.
Yeah, it's like
It's quite weird.
Yeah, so I guess this is a thing that maybe talks slightly about the philosophy of like rating and difficulty and stuff, because like Rygalon isn't very difficult normal strategically. We obviously we went in largely blind for a lot of this because we wanted to see how that felt. We were like, okay, let's go in blind and then we'll just propose strategies to improve our damage because it's a DPS track fight. Sweet, okay, right. Okay, we'll move the boss here for more damage. That's worked. We've got more damage. Okay, we'll make another optimization. And then we're like, okay, we're making great optimizations in terms of our damage. And then with double Lego and stuff, it's just like, oh yeah, that doesn't matter because we don't need to do this because we just have the raw throughput to get over it. It's almost the same thing that happens in FF14 whenever you go to like as an example, the like Endwalker extremes are fairly tight for people who have decent enough gear. Then you go now where people have savage gear and it's just completely just destroying them.
Yeah.
Just completely skipping phases like EX2. What's now, I think this is true, what's now considered a slow run is one that sees light waves.
What?
Yeah, well, this is from proper savage players like.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, so it's like just completely skipping mechanics because of that. And that's the thing where it feels like we've gotten to that point because gear progression, I don't even know how to describe it, but basically gear progression is so important that it can at any point completely undercut mechanics unless those mechanics are really tightly designed and extremely punishing.
The idea of just not seeing the light waves in EX2s. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Interesting.
I think that's it. I read that somewhere. I don't know if that's completely true, but I did see that.
Wild. Well, overall,
yeah,
I will say I really enjoyed this raid.
Oh, I think this is the
best raid in ages for me.
It's the most fun I've had in a raid since Antor's.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, big. It's like if I go through the bosses. Okay, the first one's a duff.
Yeah, it's trash.
Like it's just some trash.
Yeah.
But as we move after that, like Zymox is great.
Zymox is
Skolex is like more on the simple side, but fun.
Yeah.
Yep. My head's busted. Oh my god.
He's forgotten all the ones.
I've forgotten all the boys.
Halondrus.
Halondrus.
Great.
I mean, come on.
Fantastic.
Brilliant fight. Love it.
Yeah.
So yeah, Halondrus is brilliant. Then your one with the beamy thing and the waves, the dark circles instead of the light circles.
Leuven.
No,
Sorry, Leuven. Yeah, the sausage, the fallen oracle. Yeah.
Oh no, I was talking about the sausage.
Yeah, the sausage, the fallen oracle. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. No, the sausage. Yeah. Simple, fun little fight.
Yep.
I'm happy enough.
Nerfed the shit out of that as well.
Oh, they really did. Yeah.
The damage is now 200% extra damage from hitting this 2 waves.
So
how do you hit by 2 waves?
Anyway. That one was fun.
Yep.
You can really tell how underslept and frazzled I am. I can barely even recall the
I'm
names
really
of the bosses
struggling as
in
well.
order. That's
because
really embarrassing.
It's Prototype Pantheon. Then
Prototype Pantheon.
Then it's Leuven. Prototype Pantheon was interesting. I think that fight was too easy for us. It was cool but too easy.
Yeah, I think.
Also, a small part of that is raid size. You can tell these are designed for 20, but scaled to work for 10 because the fucking size of boss rooms.
Oh, Lehuvim, yeah.
Lehuvim's boss room is designed for 200 people.
Yeah.
It's insane.
You know, fun, simple little boss. Yep. Really liked it. Anduin. I thought Anduin was a great fight. Definitely, I'll take Anduin over Zoval.
Oh, Anduin, yeah. Anduin's like I think Anduin's the second or third best fight this expansion.
Yeah.
The best being Denathrius.
Zoval Phase 1, I actually enjoy. A few little strange interactions with how the hexagons work aside, so I thought Zoval was fun. After that, like a bit less interesting, but certainly, I mean, whenever you get a defile and like one person forgets and then you just see, you're like, for fuck's sake. Whenever the Death Knight tank gets mind controlled, has 500,000 health and is essentially unkillable, that's also very cool.
It was, oh my god. There's nothing like whenever your raid is primarily magic damage, having a Death Knight to be dominated and then press AMS and you just see they're like 20% health, the magic shield just fills them up again. It's so funny.
Yeah, so it's a weird thing. Normally, by the way, our thing is like we reconvened. The guild's called Recombined Might. Used to be called Combined Might. Fell apart. Came back again. And the first raid tier.
Nihilotha.
Well, the first that we were in was Nihilotha.
Yeah.
I don't know about the rest because they'd all raided with each other before.
They
in
did
Eternal Palace.
BFD.
Yeah. Well, like, so, you know, we did that on normal super quickly, went straight into heroic. That was really fun.
Yep.
Nathria heroic, really, really, really fun. Thought it was great. I mean, Stone Legion Generals is a bit. But anyway, that heroic was fun. Sanctum of Domination heroic, less fun.
I really did not like anything in that raid.
Other than Painsmith.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about Sanctum, but anyway, what happened with us though is, you know, we were there doing heroic. Lawsuit comes out.
Everyone just goes.
The lawsuit comes out. A bunch of our players, I guess, kind of myself included, just get such rotten luck with domination shards that we just can't think, you know what, fuck this. Fuck you. Game, we sort of stop.
Also, a bunch of people go play FF instead.
Yeah, and loads of us were playing Final Fantasy instead. So we, for the first time in multiple tiers, stopped heroic raiding. And now we're in a funny little situation where normally we would be straight back into, you know, doing all of this in heroic. Instead, though, we've decided to drop down to one raid night a week and do heroic. And that's actually kind of tricky because we're now in a strange situation where I think we want to see those fights in heroic. We want to play the game in heroic because that's the way that we typically enjoy raiding. But at one night a week, are we actually going to have enough gear?
No.
You know, so how's that going to work? The gearing system? Well,
no, we're not. We don't.
You know, will we feel like we have to do 2 Mythic Plus nights to get enough gear to then go and enjoy our one heroic night? You know, who really knows? I'm not sure what our average item level in the raid group is now. It's probably about, what, 255?
Probably 260-ish.
Really?
No, maybe
I'm only 255.
Maybe
258
250
I'm 256. I forget.
Maybe 258 or so. I don't know. But no.
It's a funky thing.
Yeah, it's like there's the correct way to play World of Warcraft that's like meta, whereas, you know, you go super fast. You get, you know, you blast yourself through M+15 the first week. Whereas we're taking a lot more of a naturalistic approach, which I think a lot of, like, I want to say hidden people do. Maybe not
hyper online players.
Maybe not as much anymore, but there's just this case of, like, you know, this is a different. That feels like a more natural way to play the game, and it doesn't work. It just doesn't work because raid loot isn't enough to raid with. You cannot make meaningful progress in raid without doing M+. That's the way it's fundamentally designed, and that's been the case since. I mean, it's been the case since Legion. No, it's been the case since
the Great Vault. It's really
the Great Vault made a lot of that a problem, but also when they took away a lot of how much your raid drops, stuff like that. It was like, was it the removal of Titan Forging did a lot of this damage as well, wasn't it? Because they said Titan Forging worked because there's a lot of loot, so we take away the loot.
So basically, what happened is Titan Forging went away, and there was, you know. Okay, so the first thing that killed just getting Valor points and buying some gear with your Valor points was the advent of the bonus rolls.
Yeah.
Now, Titan Forging and stuff then kind of worked to take away the bonus rolls.
Yeah.
It was all just rolled into the Titan Forging. And then, when all of that goes away, it all gets rolled into the Great Vault, which really means it's so much like more out of your hands. It's so much more out of your hands and like... Yeah, well, you know, not really. I don't like the Vault. We did a whole video on why we think the Vault is per how human psychology works and how reward design works and what the studies seem to say. And then a bunch of, you know, researchers and like sciencey types got in contact with us to be like, yes, thumbs up. We study motivation in humans, and what you said aligns with motivation in humans. And the Great Vault basically seems like game designers in problem solving mode, rather than game designers designing for humans. Does that not encapsulate so much of how Blizzard have done things recently?
Also, a lot of it is, well, this is a little bit of me armchair developing, but a lot of it to me seems like really amateur psychology stuff, really amateur motivation, where they don't understand the downsides of the positives they're making, which is that whole thing about, well, we have to reward people loads, but, you know, rewards feel special, but you can't constantly reward people. You have to, you know, have it, You have to have a day. You can't get something perfect out of the vault every week, because then it's not special. But then every, negativity bias, you get something shit, your week's ruined. That's the thing they didn't think about. And that's why determinism takes all the joy that's from the big wahoo, big random jackpot 777. You've won the game of craps, whatever the fuck else. You've won the scratch card. It takes all that possibility of joy here and just spreads it out over the rest of the game, where you can have fun if you're getting your deterministic reward.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. And let's just say there's a lot of arrogance into how some of these systems have worked. And there are certainly people I know who have had experiences in private forums and heard a lot of scuttlebutt. And it would be very comedic. Would they leak the things that I know they have screenshots of?
Yeah, just
and I'm not the only person who knows this. I'm sure Preach knows this. I'm sure pretty much everyone in the the fucking literally who Z-lister job that is our job knows of, right? So there was well, I guess reasons why a lot of very common sense things that are core to game development for humans have not exactly taken place in the game.
Indeed.
Very funny. Very funny.